And we're back. In our last dungeon delve, we managed to clear this chamber here of the toasty zombies, or some of which were toasty, which ended up being the missing men-at-arms that the local lord, Lord Blackstone, had sent a decree telling all who had the gumption and resolve to search for them in this dungeon known as the Pit and find out what their fate was. And we discovered that they had fallen prey to something and then come back as zombies themselves. So we had to put them down a second time. That cleared. We then pressed forward, discovered 2 more doors, one of which beyond lay a chamber filled with electrum pieces. We took out the guardians of said treasure, giant centipedes, which we crushed underfoot with no trouble at all. Then loaded up our mule with said coinage and vamoosed out of the dungeon. Now, since that last delve, 10 in-game days have passed. It is currently the 18th. No, it's the 19th. So it's the 19th. Or in the calendar of the in-game world, it's the Day of the Warrior in the month of the Phoenix. Currently it's still spring, and the moon is in its waning gibbous phase. For those of you dying to know that sort of information. So as I mentioned last session, in their downtime, the party don't just sit around on their thumbs. No, they go about their duties. So we'll get that out of the way before we get back into the dungeon. So I worked out that it's, 2d4 gold per week for each player character. So we'll start with Auric. Wow, 3 gold again. He's a bit of a spendthrift, that Auric. He likes to have a bit of a wee drum. And then we've got Billiam with 6 gold. And then we've got Helig the Cleric with 6 gold. And then we've got Cordelia, only with 3 gold. I guess contributions and whatnot to the church. Then we've got Mavros the Wizard, 4 gold. And last but not least, Dolly, or Subdullah the Thief, with 5 gold. Alright, so I'm just going to write that down. But also on top of that, what's happened is we have brought the information to light. We've brought it to the attention of Lord Blackstone. And in a private audience that was held with him, explained the exact grisly situations of the fate of his men, in that they became undead. So we don't want to be manipulating them undead corpses. We'll leave that to his other men to do. So while we go about our business, getting over the shock of such horrific scenes, and mustering up the courage to step forth back into the pit, what's happened is during that 10 days, Lord Blackstone has sent a contingent, let's say a collection team, to head to the pit, collect the bodies, load them up on a cart, which is presumably horse or donkey drawn, brought back to the castle grounds, and then have the bishop consecrate not only the soil, where presumably there's already a few people have been buried in the past 3 years. I mean, there's been multiple battles, skirmishes, let's not call them battles, but skirmishes with the locals, monsters and what have you. And then, presumably bless the corpses so they don't come back a second time. And then bury them, have a service. And then once all that is taken care of, what that translates to is another point of favor for the party. Still not anything worth mentioning. I've got to accrue a few of these points before it starts meaning anything in game. But, they're slowly but surely building up a reputation for themselves amongst the locals, especially amongst the important people like the Lord and the Bishop and all that. But, more importantly than that, more immediately important, I would say, is the fact that he did offer a reward for locating his missing men, that being 100 gold pieces. So I'm going to add that to the party kitty. And then once I've done all the shopping and other maintenance, we'll get back into the dungeon. Yeah, so I gotta say, just feeding the party Costs quite a bit. On with the show. So we've replaced everything that we expended from last session, and it's time for us to head out. Everyone's rested, ready for another round in the pit. So we collect our two so far trustworthy retainers, Petard and Kajik, both armed with the bills, their pole arms. Haven't actually gotten to use yet. The party's just too kick-ass, and the enemy's too weak for them to come into their own, but maybe today will be the day. So I'll just mark off another day has passed, as it does take the better part of a day to get to the dungeon. What is behind that door? Alright, so this still will take a while to get to because the party moves so painfully slowly in dungeons. So let's see, we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So it's 90 feet per turn. And then you check for wandering monsters every 2 turns. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So there, and then we'll check, and it is 1, I think. Oh god, alright, we got wandering monsters. Ugh, these things suck. Way more trouble than it's worth, but it's the way D&D rolls back in the old days. 8. Skeletons again. Yep. We are bony bodies. So that'll be D10. So 5 skeletons. I guess I'll quickly set up the thingy. I guess I should also roll for surprise and all the rest of it. But I guess I'll do that once I've set up the little encounter. Alright, so I've set up the little encounter here with my janky dungeon tiles. And yeah, it's back here where we did find the zombies originally. So this doorway here is all burnt out and blackened and smashed. Alright, so I worked out there's what, 5 of them. Now we work out surprise. But first, I've got 2 people with danger sense. So we'll start with Helig needing a 16. Yep, that's enough. He senses something's up. So we are surprised on a 1. So party will be white. Skellies will be black. Sweet. So we surprise the Skellies. So upon surprising enemies in a dungeon, I believe it's D4 times 10 feet away. So 30 feet away. So each of these squares is actually 5 feet on the tactical map, let's call it. So that's 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. So let's just set him up like so. I guess all that creeping around and the danger sense, I guess, as well, helped to get the jump on these guys. So we get a full round of combat against them. Well, Auric and Billiam are the 2 tacticians, so they're just going to say forwards to the entrance, then stop and just shoot targets. Because remember, they've got their torches, so they can see pretty much as far as that anyway. So that worked out nicely. Yeah, so I'll just move these guys forward, because they're just going to hold the door. Actually, no, they're just going to go there, so they don't get attacked at angles, get swarmed. Because remember, the name of the game here is survival. Don't want to run in like a maniac, get swarmed by skeletons and die. Because even though, for example, I have a warrior with armor class 0 and one with armor class 1, and there's always still one that takes a wound each session so far. So don't trust to your armor, trust to your armor and good tactics. Right, so they're just going to step forward. I guess, what's his face? Auric will hurl a spear at a skelly directly ahead. Okay, so that's medium range. So no modifier to the roll. Their AC is 7, so it needs a 10. 20. That's most certainly a hit. Oh yeah, I gotta roll hit points for him too, I suppose. So D8, just for all of them, it could be a 7. Okay, so these skellies are in pretty good condition. So I'll put that there as a reminder. Hopefully don't take it. Yeah, so that was a hit on this one. And damage. Well, that's enough to destroy it. The spear cast through the darkness. Before the skellies know what's happened, one of them has its skull smashed off. And the rest of its mouldering bones collapse and scatter across the dungeon floor. Bam! Nicely done. So Billiam will just stay put, ready with sword and shield, as will the 2 of our strapping young farmhands. But then we've got all of our slinging contingent here. So we'll start with Helig. So that's a close range, so +1. So effectively AC 8. No, that's a miss. And then Cordelia, effectively AC 9, because she also has a dexterity modifier. So she only needs a 10. So that's a hit. So be the one directly ahead. 3 damage on that one. Then we'll have Mavros. It's a miss. Dolly. That'll be a hit. Same one that was injured. Oh, 6, not quite. Let's use the die to indicate their actual current hit point total. Yeah, that's everyone. So then we have the next round. So rolling initiative, white is the party. Well, it looks like the skellies go first. So they come shambling forth. So 5, 10, 15, 20. Yep, that'll be enough. So these 2 will get close enough. 5, 10. And the others will just make it there. Alright, so the one that's almost collapsed will attack Auric. So needing a 19. Wow, 3. Didn't roll a 19. Alright, the other one attacking William, needing an 18. Yep, he's fine. Then it goes back to the party. So starting with missile attacks. Go with Helig. It's a miss. Cordelia. It's a miss. They're obviously attacking the second rank because, as I've said before, can't shoot people that are in hand-to-hand combat with friendlies unless you have a -4 added to the roll, which I'm not going to do because these guys are level 1. And then Mavros, that's a miss. And Cordelia, keep calling it Cordelia. Subdola, yep, that's a hit. So it'll be the one directly behind the injured one, I guess. And it will be, boom, 5 damage. Very nice. That's right. Current hit points. We're learning. Alright, so no magic in this round. Then back to hand. So we'll start with Auric. So black will be the sword. Red will be the shield, because he's using a horn shield and a bastard sword. So both hit. And that minimum damage is going to be enough, because that's 3 apiece. And he's already got 1 damage, so that's just auto destroy. Bam. And then Billiam, same deal. He has a regular sword, arming sword, I guess, and a horned shield, spiked buckler. Oh, missed with the buckler. Hit with the shield. Oh, sorry, sword. 3 damage. So that Skelly survives. Anyway, Skellies go first. Attacking Auric. Miss. Billiam, miss. And it's the party. So start with the ranged attacks, all attacking this one of course. So we'll go Helig. That's a hit at this range. 2 damage. Then we've got Cordelia, also a hit. 1 damage. Bounces off its skull, leaving another little fracture mark there. Then Mavros, miss. And Jolly, wow, 20. 1 damage again. Well, it makes sense. I can't see arrows being particularly effective against skeletons. So that's ranged attacks, and then on to hand-to-hand. Oh shit, you know what? I forgot last round the two bodgies. So I guess I'll do that. Yeah, so they have a THAC0 of 19. I've also said that attacking over the shoulder in such cramped confines such as the mines here will be an extra -1. So these guys, the skellies, are effectively AC 6, I believe. So I need what, 13? Yeah, I need 13. So we'll start with Petard. Hey, it's a hit! Go, son. Boom. So that's 2 damage. Yes! He is now officially blooded. Well done, Petard. With his bill hook, he skillfully dips his weapon past the 2 warriors that are currently engaged with the undead threat, and the heavy weapon smashes into the skeleton and renders it essentially destroyed, as the bones, or whatever magic held the bones together, doesn't hold, and they all tumble to the ground, inert once more. Well done, boy. Listen to me talking to him like he's a dog. Anyway, and then we've got Kajik. Not quite. Alright, and then it's the second round that they should have attacked. So we'll go with Petard again. Hey! Alright, my man! 3 damage on that one. Yeah, boom! Kicking ass and taking names. Alright, that was pretty rad. And I guess it's the next round. Round 4. Okay. Yeah, the party goes first. Alright, with only 1 skelly left, the fighters are going to advance. As is everyone. No one's going to shoot. It's just going to be hand to hand. So we'll start with Auric as always, taking the initiative. Yeah, they're both hits. And that'll be enough damage to finish the one that's already injured, thus concluding our silly little random encounter. Wandering monsters can kiss my ass. Anyway, there's like, I don't know, 5 XP each or something. Yeah. 10 divided by 8 per skelly, so not very much. Onwards! Well, with that bum fluffery out of the way, we were here and then moved forward to about there. So it'll be another 1, 2, 3. Wait, where are we? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's another turn there. Then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So now we're there. Alright, this is 40 minutes in. Torch is still burning, got another, what, 20 minutes left. And then we check for another wandering monster. No, good. Excellent. We can get on with the business at hand, which is exploring the dungeon and getting rich. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 there. Now, I don't think I did, and if I did actually listen at this door, I don't remember. So I'm just going to check again for everyone. And so I was saying, it takes about a minute to listen at a door properly. and 2 people can do it at once. So that'll take 4 minutes, and it's a 1 in 6 chance. 2, 4, 6. And we're saying we'll let the 2 retainers listen as well. Why not? Every pair of ears is as good as the next. So in accordance with the trend so far at listening at doors, with all these rolls, only 1 person managed to hear something, if there's something to actually hear. Now another thing well, there's 2 things now that I think about it I forgot to mention. One is, with retainers, you generally, according to the book, you generally don't give them a share of treasure. You pay them a certain amount agreed upon, and for an agreed upon time, they will serve you. And then once that time has elapsed, you then make a morale check to see if they stick around with you. So that's something I didn't mention when I did actually hire the 2 retainers. I've done things slightly differently. I'm not giving them a set amount of money. They're just getting half a share each of treasure, which is pretty decent. That also reminds me, they would have taken some of that electrum, so I should probably write that down too. Oh yeah, and then secondly, the agreed upon time that they'll serve us before a check is made is basically once we've cleared the dungeon, the pit, and then we'll see what happens from there. In the unlikely event one of them reaches 500 XP, or both of them even for that matter, they will become fully fledged fighters, at which case they'll become proper henchmen to the party, well, to Mavros, technically. That's probably not going to happen, but it's something to look forward to at some point if they manage to survive, because that's awesome. Anyway, so there's something heard here. Oh yeah, actually the second thing, before I get carried away with exploring, is that I haven't been checking for stairs. So what I've decided to make things simple is I'm not going to bother checking for stairs. I've already checked to see how many rooms this dungeon has, or this level, and it's 6 rooms. And so the guaranteed location of the stairs will be the final room. So I found 1, 2, 3. This will be my 4th. So it won't be for another 2 more rooms that there will be stairs, just to keep things simple. So we've heard something there. Now it's time to determine what kind of a room it is. If it's special, then it's a reroll. Otherwise, it's any of the others indicated by the sandbox generator here. Let's grab the percentile dice and roll them bones. 58. Oh wait, it's a used to rolling everything on percentile dice. It's a D6. Getting a bit excited here. 2, empty. Now it does say the following table may be used to determine the type of content and chance of treasure in a room. Roll 1d6 and 1d100. So no matter what they hear, they think they hear something, but they don't hear anything. All is quiet. Maybe they hear the ding of treasure. Well, I guess we'll roll for that once we enter the room. Is the door locked? Now this is something that isn't part of Sandbox Generator. It's my own addition. And so far it's proven to be rather annoying because it's a 10% chance, I was saying. Oh, almost. 13%. So it's not locked, but it is stuck. Doesn't matter, there's no monsters, so we can boot it in. So I'll send my 2 strongest dudes. Yep, boom. Basically fail on a 1. As I was saying, these doors are broad enough for 2 big fellas to, you know, put their backs into it and shoulder charge the mofo and smash it open. And so beyond we have apparently an empty room. Alright, quick battery change. Where was I? Ah yes, so we were determining the dimensions of this new chamber. That was empty, but might have treasure. So another D6 roll. 2. That is a medium-sized room. So that'll be D4 plus 2 squares that way. Where's a D4? There's a D4. So that's 6 across, So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And 3 deep. 2, 3. Look at that. Rather neatly hewn out chamber in the pit. So upon booting in this door, there's a scattering of dust and also of, I guess, roaches and other disgusting crawling insects as light floods into the chamber. Seems to be maybe an area that was dug out for whatever ore they were digging for. But searching around, seems to be empty. Though, there's a 15% chance there is treasure. 98, that's not quite enough. Alright, it's nice and easy. I would say that searching the room would still take a little while. So we'll say that took 5 to there. And then it'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 18. So that's about, so that's like 18 squares to check out. There's 8 available pairs of eyes to look around to suss out that there is in fact no treasure to be found here. So we'll say that everyone but, let's say, I don't know, Auric will be guarding the door. Oh, let's make it Billiam. He's good with the mule. So Billiam and the mule will be outside watching the corridor while everyone else searches. And that'll take another 2 turns. So it's just enough for the torch to burn out. And also just enough time to make another check for wandering monsters. Yay, no stupid stinking wandering monsters. They can piss right off. But also what can piss off is the fact that there's no treasure in this room. And we mark off a torch. Ooh, I do check to see if there's any doors in this room too, I suppose. So roll d12 to determine the number of additional doors in a room. That's a 9. 2 doors. Okay. And then roll a d6 to determine where the doors are located relative to the existing one, so there. So the first one is to the front, and the second one is to the right. Well, what do you know? And then optionally I can determine where it's located using the die corresponding to the dimension of the wall. I'm just going to be boring and just place it directly there and directly there in the middle. Cool. Where to? Alright, Oracle, do we go directly ahead or to the right? Directly ahead will be 1 to 3. So we go to the right, that way. And then we do some listening at the door. Wow, no one heard anything. Is the door locked? 10% chance. No, it's not locked. While I'm at it, I'm actually going to check the door directly ahead too. First the sound. Hey, we got a couple of people that heard something. And we'll check to see if it's locked. No, 20. Okay, so neither of them are locked. Did hear something there. So I'm going to put a question mark. Sound. But we're going to ignore that for the time being because the oracle has dictated we're heading through this door. Didn't hear anything. So of course there's nothing to hear. I'm sure that's how it works. And we'll just get Auric and Billiam to boot the door in as usual. Yep, quite easily. What's beyond this door? Alright, so these must be the last 2 rooms, because as I was saying, there's only 6 rooms to be generated on this level of the dungeon. It's quite small. So that'll be a d6 roll. A trap room. Ooh, finally Subdula gets to earn her pay. Let's roll for its dimensions again. So it's 6 across. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, 8 deep. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Big old chamber. Still not the stairway chamber. There is a trap. And there's treasure. It's a trap procedure. So this trap procedure table is of my own making. So if the room is trapped, is it detected? So it's 1 on a D6 check or the thief's check. That's a big ass room. It could be at any point. Though I would say as a DM, I would put the trap maybe... actually, here's a creative way to paint the picture of this situation here. There is also a 25% chance that there's treasure in here. So no treasure, because I was going to say maybe it's one of those Indiana Jones type deals where there's a, I don't know, a podium or a dais with some obvious treasure that once you lift it from there, it triggers the trap, whatever it may be, rolling boulder, magical explosion, you name it, whatever. But no. So I'm going to make an executive decision and just say that maybe not the door itself is trapped, but there'll be a trap directly at to the entrance to the room for whatever reason. I guess make the check for Subdula. That's her whole deal, is to pick locks and find traps. Find and remove traps, 40%. So pretty good for level 1 because I am using the 2nd edition Advanced Dungeons and Dragons Thief skills rules because, yeah, the one straight out of the box for BECMI suck ass. 40%. Yay, she finds it. Alright, I'm going to pause this to see what kind of trap it is. Alright, so I got my traps table here. It is a percentile table for once. There we go. 27. Electrified ground. Sorcery. So maybe the entire chamber here is electrified. Okay, so the DM's gears are turning in my old DM brain here. So I'm starting to think maybe this is the door opens. As we boot the door open, light floods in, and we see that the floor seems to be moving. In fact, it seems to be liquid. Maybe it's slightly depressed. Doesn't have to be that much, maybe just a few inches, but it's flooded. And in this chamber can be seen, by at least our thief, Subdula, strange flitting shapes in the water, the murky waters of this flooded chamber. Now, her being a thief is instantly suspicious and thinks, okay, something feels wrong about this room, other than it being flooded. It seems, well, I mean, there's danger sense as well. Let's roll some danger sense checks. Alright, so Helig detects nothing, but Cordelia the cleric does. So between Cordelia and Subdula, they put their minds together and decide, yeah, this is a sketchy trapped room. There could be treasure somewhere in those murky, slimy depths. But more likely, there's some sort of critters that'll make their lives rather painful and difficult. And so as a DM, I'm going to say that this area is flooded. Maybe there's cracks and crevices that lead to some sort of underground lake, and it's not enough to basically flood into the rest of the mine here, but it's just deep enough to prevent any walking through here without getting electrocuted, because there are electric eels. So how does one disarm an electric eel trap? Riddle me this, dear viewers. Alright, so she's going to explain the situation to the rest of the party, who are going to put their heads together. So Mavros, being the most intelligent of the lot, will make a intelligence check. He also does have skill. Yeah, so he's got alternate magics there with a 16. So he's heard of electric eels and knows perhaps that the way that the trap works is for them to convey the electricity through the fresh water. The shock will only travel through that unimpeded. Maybe if an individual was to create a barrier of sorts around oneself with oil, that could slow down the shock or protect one from its effects completely. Because I imagine that lamp oil might be non-conductive, let's say, for argument's sake. And so now it's up to Subdala to actually put his little plan into play using her own cunning. So that'll be another check of 40. Let's see if she can pull it off. I forgot what the rules... I guess there are no rules out of the box in BECMI for catastrophic failure. But let's say if she rolls a 5 or less, then it is catastrophic and she gets shocked. Otherwise, she just fails to deal with the situation. It'll also, I think, cost some oil, obviously. How much? I guess we'll get to that. 56. Alright, so she fails to disarm the trap, if you will. So she starts wading in cautiously as Billiam is directly behind her holding a torch aloft. And she starts to pour oil in a semicircle directly in front of her and starts, I guess, lapping it forward to try and create like a extending field, if you will, of oil. But starts to get the heebie-jeebies and thinks this is a bad idea. But they know there could be the treasure here. I mean, I as a player and DM, I guess, know that there's no treasure. But the party don't know that. And they're in desperate need of more coinage. Alright, well, that idea is interesting, but I think you'd need, number one, a lot of oil. So I guess I'll mark off a couple of flasks of oil. Ah, right, okay, so he only had 2 oil flasks. Let's say just one then. So, another idea I had actually is, I know for example in the real world, in the northern parts of Australia, there are Aboriginal people that use the bark from a certain tree that they strip from the tree, pop it into billabongs and waterways, essentially lagoons and creeks and streams and stuff. What that bark has in it is a toxin that essentially depletes the water from oxygen and poisons the fish, I think. I'm not sure 100% on the exact science and chemistry behind it, but in any way, it's a poison that's harmless to humans. It kills a fish, and then they just like chill for a while, and the fish essentially bob to the surface. Mavros has nature law for planes. Maybe he can come up with knowledge of such a plant. I mean, the plains are not exactly immediately near here, but this is something that we could return to at a later date. Alright, so I'm just going to make a... I'll start with Mavros, as he has... Where's his character sheet? There it is. Yes, we'll start with Mavros because he has nature law, planes, alchemy, and alternate magics. I mean, those put together, I'm sure he could come up with something. Let's go with nature law for the planes, because there are planes between here and the castle. The castle is essentially set on coastal plains, next to cliffs. Well, that was a 13, but 1 works too. Yeah, so he's going to have a scrounge around. So we'll leave this chamber for now. I'll mark it, and then we'll move on to the last room for the level and see what happens. Alright, so we're going to leave that chamber for later, and then we've got our final room here. Just to nip it in the bud, I'm just going to say that, yep, that's a dead end right there. Making it up as we go along, remember. So we have our final door, not that the party knows that, but I know that. And they did think, well, there's a possibility that someone heard something here. So it's time to check again. The old table here. What kind of a room we're dealing with? That's a D6 roll. 5. Hey, we got monsters. Excellent. And it's not wandering monsters. By the way, while I was faffing about here, I don't think too much time would have passed. Let's say, oh, I don't know, another 5 minutes. So we're now on turn 7 in the dungeon, so we've been here for 70 minutes. So we've got monsters, monsters, monsters. Alright, and then I've got my own special pit encounter table. It's just all undead and creepy crawlies. So, D20. It's a 6. Zombies again. Wow. So there'd be more bugs, to be honest, but you know, undead are fine. I realised I could have turned those skellies in here before, but then that just becomes a pain in the ass having to chase them down. Let's roll to see what kind of a room it is. 1. Yeah, so that's going to be a medium-sized one again. Seems to be the case here. So it is, oh wow, 30 across, like that. 1, 2, 3. And then it will be 50 deep. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like so. Whoops. And then we got our stairs somewhere here. So it'll be in one of the, let's say the top 3. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, we've got stairs leading deeper into the pit. Right there. Stairs down. Okay, so let's boot that door in. Alright, so this is why we get 2 people to do it. So if one person fails, the other one can take up the slack, so to speak. Boom, that door's smashed open. We did work out that it's not locked. And as we illuminate the chamber, what kind of monsters are we dealing with here? Zombies, right. So we got 2d4 zombies, I think. Oh, 6 zombies. 6 times zombies. And I guess surprise. So we got danger sense once again. So Helig, no. Cordelia, yes. Mind you though, we did hear something. So it means, oh wait, but zombies are silent. So I guess we didn't hear anything in the end anyway. So we'll roll for initiative as usual. So it's only initiative, what am I saying? We'll roll for surprise. Only surprised on a 1. Okay, so nobody's surprised. So it just goes straight to round 1. Zombies always lose initiative. So I'll set the scene up. Alright, so we've set up the little tactical map here. We established that no one's surprised. So it's 2d6 times 10 feet away from the party when they open that door. So that's 50, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. Yep, so it'll be the maximum amount as I should have suspected. It was what, 6 zombies I said? Yep, 6 zombs. So 1, 2, 3. Now these ones, I was going to say, aren't the men-at-arms that were missing. I'm just going to say that first group was the initial party. These guys, well, I guess we'll, once we get up close and personal, we'll work out exactly what they are. Because the light only travels 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, just on the edge. So their stooped shapes would be maybe just visible in the torchlight. But the party are ready for them. And as they come in, I guess we'll see exactly the nature of what they once were, at least. As usual, I'm not going to go in there to get swarmed. I'm just going to stay put, hold formation, with Auric and Billiam up the front, shields at the ready, well armoured as usual. And we've got our 2 Billmen, Peta and Kajik, ready to stabbity-doo-wop anyone that gets within stabbing distance. And then we got everyone else with their slings and bows at the ready. And old Cuddy, the mule's just going to hang away from all the noise and stink of combat and undead. So even though we technically win initiative, maybe we hear like a gurgling moan I guess Mavros is the team leader. But when it comes to tactical decisions, I guess it'd be Auric or Billiam who give the orders overall. So they just say to hold and ready their weapons. So they forego the first round of combat here and allow the zombies to lurch forward. Now zombies are pretty slow too. I believe they're only speed 20 in a dungeon. I should remember this from last time. AC 8, hit dice 2, move. Somehow zombies are faster than skellies? That doesn't seem right. They messed with the paradigm in later editions of D&D. So they shamble forward. 1, so 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. Alright. So we got a few to make it just in time to start clawing and clobbering at our frontline fighters. So for flavor's sake, I'm just going to say that these are perhaps bandits that are rife in the surrounding countryside. I haven't gotten to that yet, but in due time. Let this be the introduction to banditry in the Stormlands. Maybe they came across the pit and being inquisitive went in there never to return, and so this is where they are doomed to stay for all eternity. And just like the men-at-arms zombies, these ones will be armed and somewhat armored, but I'll still use the zombie stats. But it essentially means that instead of dealing D8 damage, which is pretty brutal at level 1, they're going to do D4 damage. Alright, so with that out of the way, the first two we're going to attack. This one here, we'll just get rid of this door. This one's going to attack Auric. I guess I should roll for hit points too. So that's 2 hit dice, so they each have 8 hit points. Okay, so that's easy. Just pop that there as a reminder. Alright, first one attacking Auric. Needing an 18. Nope. Second one attacking Billiam. Needing a 17. Nope. Alright, so that's the player's safe. So we got missile attacks. Oh wait, that was it for the round 1, because I did say that everyone's just going to hang and wait for these things to emerge. So that's round 1. Now we're at round 2. Alright, so auto lose initiative. We go first. Shoot skis. So we'll start with Mavros here, shooting that one there. He needs a 10 at this range. Hey, that's a hit. D4 damage. 4 damage. Where are those D6s? There we go. That one there, right? Yeah. So that puts him at 4. Next up will be Subdala, who will shoot the same one, needing an 8. It's actually a 7 because, yeah, you get range modifiers. Thinking out loud. So that's a hit. And that'll be 5, so that's enough to take it out. Twang. Arrow in its rotted eye. Alright, keep track of arrows. Keep everything above board here. And then we've got Helig up next, needing a 10, I believe. 16 is a hit, so he'll be attacking that one there. So that's 3 damage. And then Cordelia with an 8, and she needs a 9, so just missed as a sling stone zips past. And that's it for shooting and magic. As I was saying, I'm not going to bother with turning. I think I'll bother with turning if I'm in a hairy situation that's not favorable for the party. So if, say I'm getting surrounded, then I'll turn whoever I can and deal with the leftovers. Or if there's just like immense numbers. Right now, it's, yeah, I think I got control of the situation. So then we'll move on to hand. So Auric, black will be sword. Yep, hit with both, as 8 is the minimum needed. Alright, so we will have to roll, because his minimum damage won't be quite enough. Or will it? No, it will, because it's 1 damage plus 3 from his strength. Yeah, because he's strength 18, so that's a minimum of 8 damage. Yeah, see that horn shield, good lord, especially at this level, makes all the difference. Bam! That one's taken out. Then we got Billiam. And he will need 9s. Yep, both hit. He's not quite as strong. So his minimum damage is 6. So we'll start with the sword. So that's 5 damage. And then the shield, it's D2. So that's 8, just enough. That one's dispatched. And then unfortunately, as usual, these two chaps with the bills don't have anyone in range, so they'll forego their round of attacks. And that's the party done for this round, so then the zombies will move in. No checks for morale, they're essentially mindless. Alright, so the damaged one will attack Auric, needing an 18. Nope. Other one attacking Billiam, needing a 17. Nope. Excellent, excellent. Alright, next round. Shooting. All shooters are going to shoot at this one. Only available target, really. So we'll start here again with Mavros, needing a 10. Yay, that's a hit. For a whopping 1 damage. Then Subdula. Hello, Dolly. 2 damage. Helig. Yep. Crack for 4. Can Cordelia get the killing blow? No, she chokes. Wait, it's that one anyway. Derp. Alright, let's throw these two a bone. So we'll go Petar first. Attacking that one. Now, what does he need? Essentially, armor class of 7. So 12. Hey, that's a hit. 7 damage. Bam! Petar kicking ass and taking names today. Well worth his half share. And then Kajik. That's also a hit. Boom! Oh wait, that's only 1 damage. And then we'll go Auric attacking that one. Yeah, that one. Why not? Alright, hits with the sword. And that'll be a minimum of 4, but... So that's 5 plus 4. Bam, he's lopped down to size. And then Billiam boldly... Oh wait, he's already... Movement phase is already done. Well, that's it then. The zombie steps forward, attacks Billiam. Oh, almost. 1 off. His claws are getting dangerously close to his face there. The only part of him that isn't armored, really. Yeah, and then no one can shoot. So we'll just go Billiam. Hits with the horn shield, and that one's gone. Making quick work of these Gribblies. Alright, so with those zombies dealt with, it's time to search the room for treasure. Alright, so I deemed that the actual treasure table for monsters from the sandbox generator was a little bit too generous. So I'm just going to stick with the one that I've drawn up, which isn't as generous, but I guess, I don't know, I'm a glutton for punishment. So zombies, according to this table, there's only a 20% chance of a type K treasure. So here goes. Come on, 20 or less. Oh yeah, look at that. 10. That's fantastic. I mean, that means there's a chance at treasure. With these stupid tables, I still could come up empty-handed. So as before, I think I'm going to get everyone to search the room and just have one person on guard to watch the mule there. So we'll make it Billiam. Everyone else can go in and search. But maybe I'll make it the two retainers, because I did say I don't want to put them in direct harm's way as far as traps and things go. And they can keep each other company while we do all the real work here. That's alright, Petar, you've proven your worth today. Absolutely phenomenal. Right, so let me get this treasure table up. Alright, so I got the old treasure table in layers thingy up here. So type K, so a 0% chance of copper, which doesn't break my heart. That's just essentially dead weight. 30% chance of silver though. So no silver. Electrum, 10% chance. Maybe I'll get lucky and get some more Electrum again. Nope, no Electrum. Gold, nil. Platinum, nil. And then nil for everything else. So yeah, as I was saying, it's not a particularly bountiful treasure type. Oh well, I was excited for about 1 second there. But that's fine, they can't all be dripping with gold. Things would get a little bit boring if that was the case. Yeah, I think I'm going to leave it at that. It does mean now that we have cleared, to the best of our knowledge, the vast majority of the first level, except for that electric eel room. Which is this one, with this wall of text I've written in there. Which we'll go back to. And more importantly, we have stairs leading to the next level. Now I personally know that there is only one more level to the dungeon, with a potential chance of a boss encounter that has guaranteed treasure, which is pretty cool. But we won't worry about that until the next session. So for now, we're going to collect our goodies and head back to the castle. Thanks for watching.
Chin ass!